This video is going to be about how to use the 3-compartment sink. So one of your assignments on Google Classroom was to summarize the 3-compartment sink directions, to summarize all the steps involved in your own words. So our 3-compartment sink works like this. This is where you wash the dishes in hot soapy water. This is where you rinse in warm water, and this is where you sanitize. And actually the directions for our sanitizer is to use cool water, not warm water. So first what we're going to do is we are going to fill up the wash sink. So first you want to take this lever and you want to turn it from the right all the way to the left, and that will plug the sink. So just so you know, this is this food catcher down here. You will be taking those out every time you cook to clean them off, but that is the plug down there. And so it's in the down position, it's plugged, and then this is the up position where you would drain the water. So again, I'm going to turn it to the left and put it back down. You want to make sure your sink is clean. So there is some stuff in it right now that I'm going to get out. So I use sanitizer to clean and wipe out the sink, because you must start with a clean, sanitized sink. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn on the water. I'll put the food catcher back and turn on the water. You want to turn on the hot and let it warm up, and then eventually it will get super hot and you will need to add some cold. But we need to have hot soapy water in this wash basin. So we go right here and we turn this to the on position like that, and you'll notice there's nothing coming out. So then what you have to do is you have to turn on this faucet also. So we'll go ahead and plug the drain on the rinse sink. Turn it all the way to the left. Okay, here's our rinse sink. So we'll turn this on, and now you see as soon as I turn that on, the detergent started coming out. So anyway, but this sink is supposed to be warm water, correct? So see this lever right here? Once I turn that to the down position, then the water will start coming out. So these sinks take a while to fill up. You want to fill them to the fill line right there. It's a lot of water. So we have the first sink going, the wash sink, the second sink, which is the rinse sink, which is supposed to be warm water. And then now we're going to go ahead and plug the third sink, which is the sanitizer, but we're not going to fill that up just yet. So for demonstration purposes, I am not going to keep filling this up. It's like not even halfway full. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the water, but that is how you do it. So here is our wash sink that's filling up with detergent. We're going to go ahead and turn the detergent to the off position, and then you'll notice it stops coming out. I'll go ahead and turn off this water, and we'll turn off the water to the rinse. Okay, and then we're going to do the sanitizer. So the sanitizer is supposed to be cool water. So we put this over here, sanitize, and then we go up here to the sanitize, and we turn it to the on position. And now we have sanitizer coming out into our sink. While the sanitizing sink is filling up, I'm going to talk about a few of the tools that we have at the dishwashing station. We have squeegees. These will come in very handy when you are cleaning the sinks at the end of the period. We have knives like this, or spoons sometimes, to help get the food catcher out of the drain. We have various different types of scrub brushes. We have these metal scrunchies that are great for food that's really stuck on the pan. We have another squeegee. These green scrubbies also work well to get off stubborn food that's stuck to the pan. One thing that is super important that you guys should have read in your directions is the preparation. So step 2 where it says pre-wash, pre-scrape. Everything you wash, you must pre-wash, pre-scrape before you even put it in the sink. The pre-wash, pre-scrape happens over here at the dish pit sink. And it happens right here in the trash can. That actually is where you want to put the majority of food that you scrape off of pots and pans. You want to put the least amount of food in the sink because you will have to eventually come back and clean that. So the pre-scrape happens in the trash can and in the dish pit sink. Again, some tools that are helpful are the ones I already showed you. Then we have this, and we have another one that's plastic. You don't want to use this on a non-stick surface though, because you will ruin the non-stick surface. You'll scratch it. So back over here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. This is our sanitizer sink, because we don't need that much of it for the demonstration. So turn off the water. Now I still need to go and turn this off. Okay. And then we have test strips to check the sanitizer level. The test strips are right here. And to check and make sure you have the correct level of sanitizer, you will pull off a little strip and test it in the water. You dip it quickly in the water and then back out. So take the test strip, dip it quickly in the water and back out, and then you'll compare it to the chart and see if it is, you want it between those first 3. Okay? Side note, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a Dutch baby cooking. I was trying out the recipe. Side note again from the dishwashing video. Here's my Dutch baby. I did not bake it as long as it said to. I feel like it's done. You have to be super careful because if you can see it, it is bubbling and buttery goodness. I also did not put the cinnamon filling in this. Now, if you want to, obviously you guys are putting the cinnamon filling, but you could carefully transfer it to a cutting board. So you would need to, it's really light and airy. Transfer it to the cutting board, and then you could smother it with the powdered sugar glaze. Okay, and remember, no soap to clean that. It is just going to be cleaned with hot water. Again, side note from the dishwashing video, but this pan is extremely hot. It will take quite some time to cool. It still has quite a bit of butter in it. That will need to be poured off into a container. And I think I've talked about it before. It's the container over there. But you would want to bring that container over here where the pan is, and then transfer the melted butter into the pan. So this is part of dishwashing. Again, there's butter at the bottom of this, so we're going to drain that into this saucepan that has old used oil in it. So continuing with the dishwashing video, this is a process to teach everyone how to do this and how to do it correctly. This is the dish pit sink. This is where all the pre-wash, pre-scraping will happen. And so I just brought over the very hot cast iron pan. Use pot holders to bring it over here. So we're going to turn the water on, and first we are going to spray this with cold water to cool it down. So if you are one of the dishwashers, there will be someone stationed over here at the dish pit. Like, that will be your job. You are in the dish pit you're at the dish pit sink. So the dish pit person does all the rinsing and food scraping. And since there are going to be 4 dishwashers, anybody else with an extra hand, if you're a dishwasher, you can help with the scraping. But I cooled this off with cold water. And now I'm going to take hot water and rinse it out. It's basically clean. And it looks greasy, but it should look greasy because it's a cast iron pan. So then you want to take a towel, not a paper towel, but a towel, and you want to wipe it off, dry it. And then you can hand it to another dishwasher person to go put away. Or if you need to place it somewhere until you have time to put it away, you can put it up there on one of the dish drying shelves. So one of your competencies for Culinary One is to wash the blender. This cannot go through the dishwasher, so what you would do is you would rinse it off, make sure it's free of any food, and then you would give it to the person at the dishwashing station, the hand washing station. Whoops, I was recording when I thought I wasn't. But anyway, back to this. And so now we're going to take these dirty dishes. And again, if you are the person at this station, you are going to free these items of all their food by scraping them mostly into the trash can. That's your goal, is to scrape it into the trash can. Okay, so I think that I wasn't videotaping when I was spraying down the Vitamix. So just so you could see. I sprayed it until I got rid of all the flour and batter that was inside. And then I would hand it to the person that is doing the hand washing. Hand washing at the 3 compartment sink. Okay, so here we go. Here's my trash can. And I'm going to show you what it looks like to scrape off all the food as much as possible into the trash can. So you use whatever items, tools you have by the sink. So I have this scraper. You want to just whatever works to get all the food out of the bowl. Because remember, no food can go down these drains, so it's got to go into the trash can. We do not have garbage disposals, and if the sinks get, the pipes get clogged up with food, then we won't be able to cook. So scrape those out, and I'll put them in the sink. And this had a little bit of food on it, so that will help. Also, another item that's great to use to scrape things out are these, have a few of these old rubber scrapers. So scrape the food into the trash can. And again, you want to do this for a lot of different reasons, and it makes your life easier because the more food you get off into the trash can, the less food you will have to clean at the end of the period, food that gets clogged in there or on top of the food basket. Okay, so I think you guys get the idea of scraping. A little more to show you though. Scrape, scrape, scrape. And none of these items were very difficult, but in the future you will definitely have items that have cooked on food that'll be a little bit harder to scrape off. So now we're gonna focus on this sink, and I'm gonna go ahead and open up the dishwasher here. Okay, it's turned on, so I'm gonna open it up. Okay, and here is the inside of our dishwasher. Same thing with this. We don't want any food in there. It will clog up the spray arms. So it's a great tool for cleaning, but it will only keep working well if we take care of it. So then you want to take one of these trays, either one of the pegboard trays, or you can use the flat one. Okay, and all utensils must be in one of these two baskets. So this one, if you notice, doesn't have the thing in the middle. So this one is good for this tray, okay? And then this one works in the peg tray, okay? But all utensils need to go in here. And when I say utensils, I'm talking about silverware. Larger items like larger rubber scrapers or larger spatulas and things like that, those don't have to go in here. But the small typical silverware needs to go in a silverware holder. So again, as the dishwasher, you are going to be spraying down all these items, and as much as possible, we want to put things in the commercial dishwasher so you can put them on the rack. You want to fill it up as much as possible, and anything that is either too big to go in the dishwasher, or you're running out of time and you need somebody to be washing the dishes more at the sink, you know, so that you can get more done, then you want to hand it over to the person at the sink. Like pots and pans, things like that. Sometimes those are the things that will need to go to the person standing at the 3-compartment sink. So we're going to spray this out. Remember, we're going to get rid of all the food. And this process, so again, you know, I'm either going to put this stuff through the commercial dishwasher, or I'm going to hand it to the person at the 3-compartment sink. When you wash items that maybe had cooked on egg, or if they had cheese in them, you need to rinse them with cold water first. Of course, after scraping. So first you scrape it, and then cold water. If you put blazing hot water on something that had baked on cheese or baked on eggs, then you will be melting it onto the pan, which is not good. So I'm about done with spraying off all these dishes. And this is a long process just to teach people for the first, you know, few times. So that's why I'm making the video. So I've loaded this up, and I'm going to push it into the dishwasher. I've showed a few people how this works, but this fits in there just one way, okay? And see this handle right there? There's one on the other side, just like it. You have to make sure that there is nothing in the way down here to keep it from shutting all the way. If you go to shut this and there's something blocking it here or on the other side, it will turn on and water will start spraying out the front. So you want to make sure that there is absolutely nothing in the way when you go to close the door. Okay, when you close it, it's going to turn on. It runs for 60 seconds, or 60 seconds, that's not true. It runs for 90 seconds. You're going to hear that loud click, it should do that. It'll run for 90 seconds. When it's done and you can open the door, that orange yellow light that says cycle, that will turn off. So the light went off, so now I'm going to go ahead and open this, and it's going to be hot, so just be careful. So open it, and then you want to slide this tray to the right. So slide it over here, okay? And then there should be at least 1 or 2 people, 2 of the dishwashers, grabbing those items and drying them. So this is what I'm talking about. Like if you went to shut this right now, that would probably be in the way, and that would be a problem. So you want to make sure you scoot it far enough over, okay? And just to keep things moving, nobody can dry things instantly, so you might want to grab these items and for a little bit, like they can be hung up there so they can start drying. You can take these, a lot of commercial kitchen equipment has the little hole on the end so you can hang it, just like the measuring spoons. But again, somebody's gonna need to be grabbing these things pretty quick to start drying them. But if you notice, see, a lot of them have these hooks, okay? So there we go. Now, because you want to empty that tray so that you can bring it back over to this side and load it back up. And then at the end, you will need to wash any of the scrubby utensils that you use to clean with. You want to put them through the washer. And so that would be something like this. And I made another video, I don't know if you watched it yet, but these silver scrubby things, these never can go through the commercial dishwasher. Never. Okay? So, but pretty much everything else, the scrubbies, like things like this can. I even put the squeegees through, these through also. And you will see what I use that for in a minute. So for right now, I'm going to slide this over here, as that's going to be my last load. But I'm not going to run it yet because I still have a few more things to put on it. And this, as you can see, it takes a while to explain all this, because now I'm going to talk about how you need to clean and spotlessize these sinks at the end of the period. We're going to take a break for a second here, actually, and look at this sink. So I needed to bring the cutting board over here because it doesn't fit in the commercial dishwasher, and I just have the Vitamix at this point to wash. So we're trying to save water, and you want to use the hot soapy water just as it is as much as possible to clean your equipment. And but of course, if you need to turn on the water while you're washing stuff, by all means go ahead. And we just want to get this clean. So remember, the blades are sharp, so we're not going to stick our hand in there, but we're going to clean the inside and the outside of this really well. Okay, and then actually what you will want to turn the water on for is to rinse this, because what needs to happen is you need to try to keep the rinse water free of soap. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to want to take the sprayer, turn it on, and spray this off before we put it in the rinse water. Okay, and then I can move it over to the rinse water, and we could have, you know, somebody doing the washing, and then somebody next to the person doing the washing that can do the rinse part and the sanitize part. So this is the cutting board that I used to cut the Dutch baby. And we need to scrub it on both sides. Okay, and then we want to rinse it before we put it in the rinse sink, because you want your rinse water to stay clean. So we rinse off as much soap as possible. Then I'm going to move on to the lid. Make sure that I scrub it in there. And you can remove this lid if you turn it correctly. Before I forget, since I was only washing a few things for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you how to drain the sinks. Okay, so just remember, you can only drain one at a time. So you're going to open this up to the right, and you'll see it's draining down there. Okay, so you can open that one all the way up to, you know, all the way open. You can open this one all the way when the first one is done. Remember, just one at a time though. And then our sanitizer sink, that lever you can only open like halfway, because the pipe on the floor is a lot smaller and it can't keep up with the flow of water, and then the water floods out onto the floor everywhere. Okay, so drain one sink at a time. That was our dishwashing sink, and now I'm gonna finish rinsing these dishes, then put them in the sanitizer for 60 seconds, and then I will drain these sinks. So now I have those items in the sanitizer for 1 minute. I'm gonna go ahead and drain the rinse sink. So that's doing fine down there. And then in about 30 seconds, I will drain the sink. So when you put these items, when you take them out of the sanitizer, you want to take them out and you want to set them up on one of the shelves. If there's nobody available to dry them, we're going to put them up here for now until the person who's drying the dishes can come along and dry them. And here's our cutting board, and we're going to put it up here. And it's dripping on me, but there it is. Okay. Then last, our lid. So just to show you, this can only open about that much. If you open it any more than that, it will flood. So again, drain one sink at a time. The first two sinks, you can open up all the way, one at a time, okay? And this one, just a little bit. You guys are gonna be pros after watching this. Okay, so now, what has to happen at the end of every lab is these sinks and the whole sink station has to be cleaned and free of any food or debris. So it's gotta be cleaned and then sanitized. So remember, those are two different things. Cleaning means to get rid of all the debris, so food waste, debris, whatever you want to call it. And so it takes time, and I'm not going to make you watch me do the whole entire process, but that's when you want to start using the squeegee. You want to gather all the food that's in here, and right now there's hardly any. And remember, if you do a really good job of scraping it off into the trash can, there won't be that much, but there will definitely be recipes where this gets really quite full of food. So then you want to take one of those knives that I told you I have at the sink station, the butter knife. You want to take out the food catcher and you want to dump this in the trash. So bring that against the side of the trash, get as much food off of it as possible. And then before you put it back on, if there's like a little bit of food particles in there, you just want to wash those down. But big pieces absolutely cannot go down the sink. So again, when you're doing this, the squeegee, this is your friend. You want to use this, helps a lot. And then when you get down to the end and there's no food left in the sink, you want to take the squeegee and push all the water down as much as possible. Again, this whole process just makes your life easier. So just keep going like that. Okay, get all the water down. Now you want to take one of the green cleaning buckets, put a little bit of dish soap in it, just a little bit. Some really hot water, hot as you can stand. And I do have rubber gloves if you need to wear them for doing the dishes. So put some hot soapy water in there, grab one of these, and then you are going to scrub every part of this sink. Okay, you even have to get all around everywhere. You have to get over here. This whole entire area has to be cleaned and then sanitized. So the cleaning part is hot soapy water and a scrubby. So I'm still cleaning, scrubbing with the hot soapy water, again, everywhere, over here, okay? And this is industry standard. We are working in a commercial kitchen, and kitchen sanitation is super important. Okay, now I'm going to squeegee away my soapy water. And I would have done the whole entire area. And since there's 4 dishwashers, none of you guys should be sitting down and not doing anything. Everybody should continue working until this is all done. And just ask me if you have any questions whatsoever. So that is now, that's clean, okay? But it's not sanitized. So before you can sanitize, you do need to dry it. Okay, if you spray sanitizer in a wet sink, that's not very effective. So we want to dry it. It doesn't have to be, you know, completely dry, but you want to get it, you know, a little bit closer to dry than as wet as it is right now. So, okay, so I dried it a little bit, and then now you are going to take the sanitizer. Let's get this out of the way. Take the sanitizer, you will sanitize everywhere. I'm just showing you a little bit because, you know, for time's sake. So our sanitizer. Okay, and use whatever towels you need to get the job done. So then I'm going to take the microfiber towel, and it's okay if you don't use the microfiber, but it just seems to work better for the sanitizing part. So now I am drying after spraying on the sanitizer. I want to clean and dry till you've done the whole area. And again, that includes everything over here. Okay, but I'm trying to finish this video for you. So, and here are the last items that are going to go through the commercial dishwasher. I am going to put my green bucket that I used. It does need to be rinsed though, because you don't want to put it in here with a bunch of suds in it. I'm going to put my scrubby and my squeegee. Oh, and also I'm putting the food catcher. That's also an option. And next you will do the same process over here. You'll clean all that area, clean and sanitize this sink. And yes, we even clean and sanitize the sanitizer sink. So eventually, you know, with the recipes, these sinks will be a lot more dirty than they are right now. And just know that whenever you're washing dishes, if this water, the hot washing water, if it gets dirty, you need to drain it and fill it back up with clean, hot soapy water. And same thing with the rinse water. If that gets dirty, you need to drain it, fill it back up with clean, warm, rinse water. Again, if you are doing this step right here, the step number 2, the pre-wash, pre-scrape, if you are doing that correctly, then this water in the washing sink should not get that dirty, okay? Also, just so you guys know, when you are going to clean these sinks, after you have gotten the food out of the food catcher, remember you take it out like this, take it over to the trash can, bang it, and get the food off of it. If there's no more food in here and you're getting ready to wash the sink and clean it and sanitize it, it does help to leave the food catcher off, because it's kind of hard to get the bubbles and everything down the drain if you leave the food catcher on. So you'll see what I mean when you go to do it. Okay, so at the end of a lab, everything has been cleaned and sanitized and dried. This is the end of the day, so I am leaving that in there to dry. and also a few dishes to dry. But you guys, remember, you will need to clean and sanitize everything and leave it just like this. So I will emphasize one last time, you know, after you've filled up the sinks correctly, remember this is the wash sink over here, hot soapy water, rinse in warm water, sanitize in cool water, okay, and then put out there for someone to dry. But this stage, number 2, pre-wash, pre-scrape. If you do it and do it well, it'll make the dishwashing so much easier.